Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Andrew from Boost Football, and in today's video, we're gonna be going over 10 different tips that you need to know about, from passing and shooting to dribbling and defending, and even a little bit of fitness in there too, to help you become a better soccer player. If you're just starting to play soccer for the very first time, then this video is absolutely for you. If you've been playing for 2 or 3 years non-competitively, I'd recommend that you stay around and watch this video too, because I'm sure you're gonna be learning something from this. Up first, we're gonna be talking about your first touch. Your first touch is the most important thing as a soccer player. Doesn't matter if you're a beginner, doesn't matter if you're advanced, it's the most important thing to work on and to master. So, what is your first touch? It's the ability to bring the ball under control with any surface of the body in one touch. If you can't do it in one touch because maybe someone gave you a really bad ball, then your first touch should set you up perfectly for a second good touch. As a beginner though, a lot of the things that we're gonna focus on today is just using that inside of your foot for the first touch. As you get more advanced, you're gonna wanna get better at a good first touch on your thigh, on your chest, but today we're just gonna cover inside of the foot. So a bad first touch looks like this. It gets caught underneath your feet, all right? You can get closed down, you can get tackled quickly, okay? Also a bad first touch that a lot of beginners will do, it comes in and it bounces off or something like that, all right? And then you're always catching up to it, all right? A good first touch is bop right there, okay? Right in front of you, which this allows me to do is I'm already ready to shoot. I could pass back, I could do a long ball because it was right about there, or I can even dribble and get out of pressure. So you're gonna wanna meet the ball as it comes to you with the inside of your foot. When it comes to you, you're gonna want to lock that ankle and make sure you firmly connect with the center of the ball. As you get better, you want to advance to using other areas of the foot, like the sole of the foot, the outside of the foot. Also, when you start to get better too, you're gonna want to take that first touch and go exactly into the space that you wanna go to in order to get away from pressure. So we've talked about first touch, what a good first touch looks like, how you should be locking your ankle, how you should be connecting it. How do you get better? Honestly, it just comes down to practice, practice, practice. You can do this with a partner, you can do this against a wall, you can do this against a sidewalk curb, etc. It's just about getting in a ton of repetitions with the ball. So sometimes your first touch might let you down, or you might just be under pressure. The second skill and how to deal with that is learning how to dribble under pressure. Good players don't panic. Good players don't just smash the ball away. They're wanting to keep possession of the ball. Soccer's a physical sport. Don't let other people tell you that it's not. We should learn to get low and also forearm extended, okay? You can't push in soccer. Keep that in mind. Once you extend, the ref is gonna call it. If you elbow, the ref's gonna call it, but forearm is usually really good. Forearm even extended is good. Learn to have a really strong stance, okay? And forearm extended is really good. And usually you're gonna wanna be sole of the foot when you're holding off that defender. After you've started to learn how to master this, you're gonna wanna have a couple go-to moves. A really basic one in soccer, all right? If someone's running alongside you like this, it's called a drag back. You just put your foot on the ball and you do exactly what it sounds like. You drag back, you go 180 degrees in the opposite direction, relieves pressure. Something else you can do when they're on you like this, okay, is a shoulder drop. He's gonna bite it and you go the opposite direction. You can do that with either foot. So if he's here, once again, I can shoulder drop this way, and then you take your outside of the foot and go the other way. So learn to have some go-to moves to get out of pressure. As you get better, guys, go ahead and add more moves to get out of pressure. But as a beginner, try to keep it simple. Just have like 2. Our channel is full of other drills like this to get away, the Cruyff to get away, okay? There's a lot of things you can do, but try to keep it simple at first and then build on top of that. All right guys, third skill that you need to master as a beginner. We just covered dribbling under pressure. Now we need to talk about dribbling into space, okay? When we talk about dribbling into space, it's recognizing where you wanna go, all right? Where you wanna be dangerous. If it's taking someone on, the last defender, or if there's an opportunity to go to goal, dribble into space with confidence, okay? Couple things that you should know when you're doing this. In this scenario, I know I wanna go directly to goal, okay? So I want a really good first touch. Always start off a dribble with a good first touch. So into space, I know I wanna go to goal. Right away, be aggressive, go to goal. So we've taken that good first touch into space. Now I wanna talk about the proper mechanics of dribbling. So we never wanna dribble like this unless we have a move coming up that we know we wanna do. Otherwise, if we're dribbling into space and we're doing this, we're looking like a penguin and we're slowing our speed down. So proper dribbling technique looks like this. Our toe is down, all right? It's pointed inwards slightly towards our body. My ankle is nice and locked and I'm making really solid connections with the ball, okay? When I do this, it's allowing me to take a touch almost with every stride, okay? If I'm taking short strides, I can take touches here, okay? If I'm taking long strides, it's allowing me to touch and go. When we're dribbling into space, guys, we need to be aware of what kind of space we have. If it's really tight, congested, and there's a lot of defenders around you, you're gonna wanna take small touches, okay? So you can change direction at any time, all right? If you have a lot of open space, there's only one defender, or you're one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and you're trying to cover a lot of distance, it's big touches into space, okay? So be aware of that. All right, guys, skill number 4 that you need to know about and practice as a beginner soccer player is passing, okay? We're gonna go over some passing basics, all right? First up is I need to know where my plant foot is, okay? If I'm passing to Jordan over here, okay, I don't want my plant foot to be passing here, okay? Because that's what that's gonna do is it's gonna take my hips and point me in the wrong direction, okay? So my plant foot should be in the direction that I wanna go, which is going to then take my hips and go exactly where I wanna go. So after you've figured out where to place the plant foot, okay, now we need to figure out where we want to hit the ball. Always, always, always find the center of the ball. If you come underneath, it's going to put it into the air. It's going to put some backspin and all kinds of crazy stuff on it. If you go on top like this, it's going to make it bobble. It's going to take all the speed out of your pass. So we're going to find that center of the ball. You're going to know when you find the center of the ball based on how true the ball moves and also the sound. When you hit the ball in the center, it sounds like this. Okay, it sounds nice and firm. If you kind of hit it on the top or the bottom, okay, it sounds muffled and kind of dead, okay? So look for those two things, guys, and you're gonna know that you're gonna be finding the center of the ball. After we've figured out the plant foot, where we're going, and where to connect with the ball, all right, is what our foot needs to be doing. It needs to be nice and locked. If my ankle is locked, it looks like this, okay? See how my ankle is locked? If it's floppy, it's gonna be inaccurate, it's gonna be slow, okay? You see that? I swung really hard. I actually swung harder than the other one, but it barely made it to him. So lock that ankle. All right, so after we've gotten all that figured out, it's the actual process of passing the ball. For short passes, okay, my follow-through leg is gonna be right about there. If I'm passing over longer distances, similar to a hockey stick, my follow-through is gonna be longer with my leg. So he's a little bit further now. Watch my follow-through leg. It ended up here as opposed to here when the pass was shorter. Skill number 5 for you, it's everyone's favorite, shooting. I put this towards the latter end of the tutorial halfway through because it's actually more important as a beginner to spend a lot of time on your passing, dribbling technique than it is shooting. But shooting is still very important. Without shooting, you can't score. And we're gonna go over 2 different ways to shoot the ball. So the 2 main ways for striking the ball, especially for beginners, is striking for accuracy and striking for power. For both of these though, we wanna look at our run-up, okay? Our run-up and our plant foot are gonna be the same for both striking techniques, okay? When we're running up to the ball, whether it's moving and we're moving or it's stationary, the run-up is gonna be at an angle, especially for curling, and it's gonna be shorter steps up until the moment where you're gonna strike the ball. Your plant foot and your last step is gonna be a big step. From here, it's smaller steps up until you get here, and then you want a big plant foot, okay? This allows your leg to have a lot of follow through and momentum and power, both for accuracy and for power shooting. Similarly to our passing, my plant foot should be pointing at goal, okay? If it's over here, then obviously my hips are gonna be here. It's really hard to swivel my hips, swivel my foot, and get it back on goal. So know that my plant foot should be pointing at goal after I take that last big step. For curling, guys, we're gonna be meeting the ball around 3/4 of the way down the ball and slightly to the outside. It's gonna allow you to create spin on the ball and place it where you want it. Last thing, guys, for shooting for accuracy, okay, my follow-through foot is gonna wanna point towards where I'm shooting, and it's also gonna be coming kind of across my body to create some of that curl. When we're shooting for power, the run-up is gonna be the same, so I'm not gonna go over that again. The difference, essentially, okay, is where you're hitting the ball. I'm gonna hit the ball more towards the center when I'm striking for power. When I'm striking for power, also, my toe needs to be down and my ankle needs to be locked, all right? After I've done those 2 things, I need to find the bone here that leads from the toe up towards your ankle, okay? It's called the metatarsal, and that's where I'm gonna connect with the ball. My follow-through is gonna be across my body. I don't wanna come straight at it, okay? That's gonna take some of that momentum away. I wanna make sure that I follow through and come across my body shortly after hitting the center of the ball. Tip 6, guys, learning how to juggle the ball. The ball's gonna come at you in a variety of different ways. It's not always gonna be on the floor. It's gonna be in the air a lot of the times. So you need to learn how to take the ball from the air and get it onto the ground. To do that, especially with your feet, you're gonna always wanna meet the ball with, once again, not a floppy ankle, a solid ankle, and make a firm connection on it, okay? How to get better at juggling is a ton of reps. So to start as a beginner, hold the ball in your hands, drop it into your feet, connect with it, and try to get it right back around waist level, okay? So that's what you're gonna do. And then you're gonna be able to add 2, okay? And then add your other foot in there too as you build. Before you know it, you're gonna be doing 3, okay? And you just keep building, 1, 2, 3, 4, catch, okay? And you just repeat that over and over and over again. When you juggle with the ball, guys, you're learning how to use different surfaces of the foot too. So same thing, same principle here for practicing. Use the inside of the foot, catch, inside of the foot, catch, okay? Then you can start streaming them together, catch. Same thing goes for your thigh. We call it thigh because you want to be controlling on your thigh, not on your knee. Make sure that the thigh comes parallel with the ground and catch, and then you add 2 together and catch and build from there. Basic skill number 7 is defending, okay? We've talked a lot about attacking stuff so far. Now we're talking about defending. With soccer, guys, you never want to approach someone square on, okay? Your hips should not be parallel with your opponent. You should always be staggered like this with a front foot, either your left or your right, and your hips should be at an angle. A question that I usually get as a coach is, Coach, where do I angle them, okay? So you are in that angled stance like I mentioned. A good rule of thumb though, all right? If they're not in a dangerous position and they're nowhere near your goal, you're gonna wanna angle them towards the middle of the field, okay? The middle of the park, that's usually where you have a lot of your midfielders and you can win possession of the ball. When they're closer to your goal and there's a chance that they can cross or shoot, you wanna angle them. In this instance, I'm closer to the right. I wanna angle them towards the sideline. I wanna use that sideline almost as an extra defender. The next thing we need to know is always on our toes. If I'm on my toes, I can switch my hips and I can go after them, all right? If I go full tilt at the person that is coming at me and I stab in and I miss, they usually can go by you really quickly with one simple move. It's called lunging. You don't want to do that. Always stay on your toes. Once we've figured out everything that we just talked about, guys, now you're in a good position, hopefully, to tackle, okay? The 2 types of tackle that are for beginners are the toe poke and the block tackle. The block tackle is basically where you have a really firm stance and you're coming through and my body's over the ball, my knee's over the ball, and it's a really powerful block tackle. The other thing that you can do is you can pretend you can jockey with them and then it's an easy little toe poke, okay? Whatever foot is forward is what you toe poke with. Those are 2 basic ways of tackling someone. 8th tip, I'm gonna let you use your hands. We're gonna go over throw-ins. A lot of times, beginners just love to take the ball, use the old basketball technique and just launch it, okay? Refs are gonna call you on that right away. Your hands need to be parallel with the ball like this, okay? And your feet need to be on the ground, both feet at all times. To get a lot of power with your throw-ins, since you can't use a toss like that, it's good to get some momentum, so back up as far as you can, all right? Run up to the line, and remember, this foot should be trailing. You can never have a foot leave the ground, okay? Usually what you can do is you can jump into it, but make sure that this foot is still touching the ground. After that, you're gonna wanna go all the way back, full extension, to get as much power as you can, okay? So full extension, and then you snap the hip and go forward. Tip number 9, guys, is you need to have some pretty good cardio shape in order to be a decent soccer player. It's a lot of stop and go, sprint and recovery. So when you're doing fitness for soccer, try to make it specific for soccer, okay? Here are 2 examples of things you can do to help with your fitness for soccer, okay? So use the 18, sprint this part of the 18, and then jog to recover, sprint, jog to recover. You can inverse that too, okay? So you can use the sides of the 18 to sprint the side, jog recovery, sprint the sidelines, okay? The other thing that you can do, very similar to this, is using every line in the soccer field as a marker, okay? So start on the end line, go to the 6, and then you jog. From the 6 to the 18 is a sprint. From the 18 to the midfield line is then a jog. And then from midfield to the next 18 is a sprint. So you're just varying. Every line is either a jog or a sprint. So those are 2 different examples of exercises you can do to help get that soccer-specific cardio fitness. 10th tip, guys, okay, also related to fitness, you need a really strong core to be a good soccer player, okay? It's physical, like I said, even though people think it's not. You need to have the strength in order to hold people off, to spin away. So spend a lot of time on strengthening your core. Some things you can do, you just have a ball here, you've already been training with it, okay? You can do trunk twists, you can keep your feet here and just twist side to side. If you wanna make it a little bit harder, you can elevate your feet and do this, okay? That's good for core strength all the way around. You can do lifts like this, so you're down here and you're lifting the ball, okay? Lower abs. Or keep the ball here, brace yourself, and you're here and you're back and forth, okay? So look to strengthen your core as a soccer player too. We covered a lot from passing and shooting and dribbling all the way to soccer fitness. Those are our 10 things that you need to work on in order to become a better soccer player, especially if you're a beginner. Shout out to JU for being a defender. But guys, if you enjoyed that, this channel is all about making you a better player and also educating you about the game. So if you want to see more videos like this, you can do so right there. I'll put it right there. And then if you haven't subscribed yet, you can do so right there. And remember, your dreams won't work if you don't. See you guys.